Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Busy getting ready for Oregon. Looking forward to the opportunity to play Saturday evening, 6 o'clock kick. Need everybody at the game. Looking forward to a chance to play a really, really good football team. And our guys are excited about it. We had a good day yesterday. Watched the film from Saturday. Saw a lot of things that we felt we could build upon. Saw a lot of things that we thought we did well but can do better. And excited about that. I thought that after watching the film, there's no doubt to me that Jaden DeLora, I'm sure will be the Pac-12 Player of the Week, and deservedly so. I think that he's going to be somebody that will continue to improve each week. It was pretty neat to see how he played, and the fact that we've only had him for 5 games. You look around the league and you look at the quarterbacks and the head coaches, the relationships that they've had with their guys for a very long time. Even in this case with Bo Nix coming from Auburn, where their offensive coordinator was at prior. I'm just looking forward to just Jaden getting better every single week. Defensively, I thought we had a good game. The more I watched it, the more plays I saw on film that were to be had. I thought our guys played with great passion and energy. So complimentary football last week. We're going to need complimentary football this week. This is going to be a great challenge for our team. I think Coach Lanning has done a great job. I think he's an outstanding football coach, and respect him a lot. I respect him a lot. So I know we're going to have a great challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
Jaden had mentioned doing more checkdowns and recognizing that himself, that the importance of that as far as instead of forcing it down the field when maybe someone wasn't wide open. Did you recognize that as well on film?
Yeah, as we talked from the week prior, and as we are spending more time together in the film room, there's some opportunities, especially on early downs, to be able to find completions. I think he was a 71% passer this past game, and when you're at that number, it's because you're able to say no, yes, rather than no, I'll wait. And then something bad happens. And what he's been able to do and what he's really emphasized is the more he can see things quicker, the more he can get the ball out of his hands faster, less hits, and more to the playmakers quicker.
Is this as talented a receiving core as you've worked with in college?
It's a very good receiving core. I've been very fortunate. We had a bunch of first-rounders at Miami in the 2 years I was there. We had at Michigan, Amara Darbo and J.U. Cheston were both drafted in the 3rd and 4th round. Eric Decker at Minnesota. At UCLA, Jordan Lasley and Darren Andrews were both NFL players. So, but this is certainly a good group, and it's fun to coach them.
Could you characterize the game as a trust-building game between you and Jaden, and maybe a game where he's going to get confidence in the system with the success that he had?
I think, every week we continued to build trust. He was 20 for 29 against North Dakota State, had no turnovers, in a very good game. Against Cal, he threw for 401 yards and continued to move the ball. This week, he did it again. I think every day we build more and more trust, and that's what it comes down to. This is year 1, game 5 for us, and he's a sophomore coming out of a run-and-shoot system. So the more time he spends in our system, the better he's going to be. And he has all the gifts physically. So it's now a matter of just continuing to improve in the system.
What are the factors that go into the game planning of a trick play? When to call it, whether to call it?
Most of the plays that we run in a game have been practiced numerous times throughout. Might have gone in 3-4 weeks ago, might have gone in training camp. Just kind of looking at certain coverages that you want to run certain plays for. You need to be able to get certain indicators that you can run a certain play, and then feel, do you feel it's the right time to call it? Is there a reason to call it? Do you feel like they're over pursuing on the backside so you can, do certain things to open it up? Hopefully as you go through, I think that there's always a place for an opportunity to take a shot at one of those, weekly, bi-weekly, something to that effect. But, they don't always work, and they're just another play.
What do you hope to see out of Kean in his new role, and what's maybe his potential for this year?
Kean's going to have to step up. It's a next man up mentality, and he's going to have to play more than he was probably expecting to play, let's call it a couple of weeks ago. He's extremely athletic. He is 238 pounds. He's strong. He can run. He can catch. But it's college football now, and you're now blocking defensive ends that are big and strong and some older than you, and he's going to have to not just be a pass catcher. I expect him to be able to run the football, to be able to run behind him and have him cut off the backside ends if we're running away from him. And really, in general, I think Kean's just going to grow up fast.
Questions about Tanner, sort of an offshoot of that. Is he basically playing a different position than he was playing before? Or is there a lot of overlap between the two? And then what did you guys make of that play where he kind of blocked the guy and kept blocking him?
Yeah, Tanner's playing the same position as he played. He's there in both, in our zebra package. He's the only tight end in the game. Alex and him were rotating. So Tanner will take more of those reps. Kean will take some of those reps. Roberto or Tyler or somebody might come in for a few of those. And then when we get into our two tight end sets, it's a pretty balanced formation. So whichever side you're on. But for the most part, Tanner's role's not really changing too much, but potentially expanding here or there.
What about that play?
Oh, it was a good block. I think that Tanner, the more confident you feel as a blocker, the more you're going to continue to drive players down the field. The more you'll use your feet rather than just try to block with your hands. And what Tanner did was he kept his feet moving, and he kept them engaged, so you kept seeing kind of the defender moving with him backwards. And when you have that, that's just great effort. And it's also the determination to block through the whistle rather than just assume a player's blocked.
Was this T-Mac's most complete game, in your opinion, beyond just the ability to catch the ball?
Yeah, I think when you watch T-Mac this past week, the blocking showed up. We used him on a critical 3rd and 3 where we ran a quarterback sweep play where he blocked the defensive end and did a really nice job with that. I think you saw some blocking downfield. Still needs to get better with his run blocking, his pass blocking. There was a screen that we threw to Cowing that was a 3rd and 20 that we got tackled 2 yards short of the sticks. We could have completed that block better and gotten the end zone. But T-Mac's improving every week. I expect a better game out of him this week than last week. But, when it comes to being a true freshman and starting and playing 65 plays in a game, you have to start building up that callus of being able to just, get better, get stronger, and get tougher. And he's doing all of those 3 things. It's pretty cool to watch.
When Cowing gets the ball, what makes him so elusive?
He's fast. He's twitchy. He has the ability to see space in front of him. Football is a big game of geometry. When you can see space and you're able to have an idea of angles is what I think he does really well. I think he can understand what angle a defender's coming at him, and he does a nice job of avoiding.
Were you concerned at all when you looked at his UTEP opposition that he could do the same thing here?
I wasn't, because I think when you look at his skills, his true skills of catch, run, and you could see him pulling away from defenders. And when you could see a guy pull away from defenders, you kind of can translate that to our level. Let's just say to, being able to do it in Pac-12 games. But he's going to have a good game this week. We need Jacob to have his best game. We know that with these defenders, they're going to be physical. They're going to be very well coached. They're tough. And for Jacob in this game, it's going to be a great challenge.
Is it unusual that 2 guys who hadn't played together before getting here are doing what Jaden and Jacob are doing together at this point in the season?
Yeah, well, I think it's a credit to those two kids and their coaches. Jimmy and Kevin have done a great job, Coach Cummings and Coach Doherty, of connecting those guys pre-practice, post-practice, making sure that they're always getting some extra work in. Those two guys are very close. But it's not just, those two. It's now Dorian's getting involved in the picture, and T-Mac, of course. And the ability to just kind of use the summertime and use training camp, post-practices to just get maybe another rep. And the more comfortable you are communicating, like, hey, if they do this, I'm going to break in. Or if this corner stays high, I'm going to do whatever. The more comfortable they are to talk with each other, the more players can just be players out there. And that's what Mike Wiley is. Mike Wiley is just a ball player. So there's some things that Mike does sometimes that I'm like, hey, what just happened there? And he's like, well, I saw this or I saw that. And that's what really good players can do.
Can you guys cancel that? Do you guys use that package on defense with Deuce Davis and Ty? What do those guys maybe bring to the table in those situations?
Depth, number one. We don't want to have the same four defensive linemen play every snap. It's a physical game. It's you're up front. Your guys are trying to wear on you a little bit. And we talked really in the offseason when Coach Nansen, when we hired him, one of the biggest things that he's shown over the different teams he's been with is the amount of defensive linemen that play and rotate. We weren't getting enough of that. And we needed to make a decision that we were going to play freshmen in the rotation. And when you need to, our depth was coming from true freshmen. So Jacob Kangaika, Ty, Deuce Davis, Deuce Lane. So when you're using your true freshman as depth, you got to make that decision that you're willing to live with some of the things that can happen. And that's what we decided to do.
You have an example of something Riley's done recently where step back and play?
Yeah, the first touchdown he caught, he was not necessarily designed to run that route per se. He was more a check down on the left side of the tackle box, but he just saw the space occur right in front of him, and he said, if I go right here, I'm going to be wide open right in front of Jaden's vision. And but if I hang out here on the left, that Will linebacker can attach to me. And he just kind of was a player, and he just made a big time play, and Jaden saw him right away, gave it to him, and walked in the end zone.
Back to the trick plays, when do you know or get a sense that one of those plays might work in the game? Is it early on, or do you just say, oh, let's call it now because we see a formation?
Yeah, I think it's more in terms of, you have to look at a trick play as just another play. When you look at it more than that, you start thinking to yourself like, do I save it? Do I not save it? When do I call it? How important is it? Is this going to change the game, change the outcome? And I don't think that's the most beneficial because we shouldn't put any more emphasis on any play. It's just like the first play of the game. What should we call the first play of the game? Oh, God, I don't know what to do, right? That's really not the case, right? It's just a play. If you hit on it, it's first down again, and if you don't, it's 2nd and 10, But we all have these conversations with ourselves. Trick plays, or whatever they are, gadget plays to us is like, hey, it's the right time to call it. We're going to call it at this moment. We design plays for certain parts of the field, and then when we get to that part of the field, we'll use it.
Do you have any updates at this point on Tia Savea and/or Jackson?
I believe Jackson is going to be full go, and Tia is day to day. But we're still evaluating just because we only had 1 day of practice.
Going into the game, you talked a lot about gap assignment and alignment and tackling. After watching the film, how do you evaluate how the team did in those two areas?
Better in all those areas, and continue to get better. We need to continue to improve in all those areas as well. 10 missed tackles for 65 yards. Can't have it. You're going to always have a missed tackle or two in all leagues, and you're certainly going to have it in our league where you have a lot of skill players. But you want to try to minimize the missed tackles. You need to create a couple tackles for losses, and then make it hard to run. So we're going to spend all week long talking about gap fits, talk about run fits, talk about being where we need to be, and we'll drill tackling every single day this week as we did last week to see if we can be a little bit better at it.
What's your reaction to the number of midseason coaching changes?
Disappointing. I think that there's a lot of people that get affected by coaching changes. You have a lot of assistant coaches. You have a lot of assistant coaches' families. You have players that have committed to those coaches that now feel like they let someone down. You have scenarios where there are people that are committed to trying to help programs and to those coaches, and things are changing constantly. And it's an unfortunate part of the business. But, I don't like it for anybody, and I think it's a sad day when coaches get let go. Thank you.